Would you specifically define, if you could, servant leadership?
You know, servant leadership is a term, once again, that I only ran into over the last couple of years. I think I've probably beat this thing to death, but I started reading a book by a guy named John Maxwell. I'm kind of jealous of him because he's got a gimmick, you know, and he sells a lot of leadership books.
Sure.
What he's done is he's gone out and he's talked to many people, he's read many books, he's gathered philosophies together, and he puts them in some very interesting readings. In fact, I start almost every morning. If you were to go down on the corner of my desk, there's the Maxwell's daily readings, and I use that daily. I come in and I read the daily reading just to remind me. It's a means of disciplining myself to remind me that leadership is the most important thing that I do. So I start by doing a leadership reading each day. So I ran across one of his readings that talked about servant leadership, and in my mind it really summarized, I guess, intuitive feelings that I had about leadership, and gave me a way to articulate it. And I don't want to plagiarize Maxwell, but what I would basically say is, for many years, what I have looked at in leaders that have worked with me, officers, senior petty officers, chief petty officers, whoever it might be, I sort of visualize a scale, and one side of the scale is self, and the other side is service. Mm. And I think anybody who's a successful leader probably has to have a little bit of concern about self, you know, ambition, whatever it might be. Otherwise, you just don't get there. But you really ought to have a lot of concern about service, serving the organization that you belong to, serving the people in that organization, service to the citizens that are our customers. And I would hope that when you look at that scale, that the service side far outweighs the self side. So I sort of do a self-assessment. I try as well, but I also, when I assess others, I sort of look at where is that balance for that individual. And clearly the ones that I respect the most have that service far outweighing the self part. It's not to say that you forget yourself completely, because you really have to. You have to have motivation. You have to have a little bit of ambition, but you don't want to get that out of balance. And some of the worst leaders I've seen are just the opposite. They're more focused on themselves than they are the service.